Millie? Are you there? I just wanted to thank you for today. I know I have been keeping you waiting for a long time, but I just wanted to thank you for your patience and for agreeing to marry me.
No, Arnie, thank you so much. You have no idea how long I had been waiting for this. I was so happy when you got down on one knee for me and asked if I would marry you. I can't tell you how many times I had pictured you doing that exact same thing in my head.
I know, I can't believe that we're finally engaged now. We started dating when we were both 23 years old, and it's been 7 happy years together with you.
I know that this doesn't mean that things are going to be perfect between us from now on. I'm sure that there are going to be plenty of challenges that we'll have to go through from here on out. But I'm just happy that we'll be going through them together.
I know what you mean, Millie. I really am so happy about how things went.
I know. This was a perfect day, and I'm so grateful to have someone like you in my life, Arnie.
By the way, how exactly do you think we should go about making the announcement to my dad? And your dad, for that matter. I guess there's a lot of people we're going to have to make calls to now. And given that both of our dads work in the same company, they basically see each other every single day. Maybe we should just go see them at work and tell them both at the same time.
Yeah, I was also wondering about what the best way to go about doing that would be. But I think that that might be a nice way to get 2 birds with 1 stone.
So, then you just want to go to their office tomorrow when we can tell them then?
I really think that any time would work for me. I don't think I have anything going on tomorrow. So as long as we find a time that works for all 4 of us, it shouldn't be a problem.
Great. In that case, I'll ask my dad when he thinks would be a good time to go over and be able to talk to the 2 of them at the same time. When he gets back to me, I'll let you know what he said, and we can decide our plan.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for doing that, Arnie. I appreciate you asking about that. Also, speaking of telling people about our engagement, have you put any thought into how we should go about telling your mom?
I've actually been trying specifically not to think about that, if I could be perfectly honest with you.
Well, it's not like I can't understand why. I mean, when we first started dating, she was always telling you to break up with me since my dad was a single father. I mean, we didn't even tell her that we were actually in a relationship until after your parents split up. But we were dating for a whole 4 years before that.
Yeah, I mean, I think my mom actually still isn't sure whether or not we're still dating. Although, judging from some of the things she says, I'm not sure she knows that we are. I think maybe she didn't really understand when we tried to tell her that we were dating because she was so wrapped up in the divorce and all that.
Right. Well, now that we've come this far, I wonder how she's going to react hearing that we are in fact dating each other right now. More than that, we've just gotten engaged. It's going to be a shock to her.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have to think of a way that we can tell her about it without giving her too much of a surprise.
Do you think something like that is even going to be possible?
Well, it's been about 4 years since her and my dad have gotten a divorce. And the last time that I talked to her was after that happened, to try and tell her we were still dating. But I haven't spoken with my mom since then. I mean, we're basically estranged if you think about it. To be perfectly honest, I was thinking that we really don't even have to invite her to the wedding if we don't want to. And I think my dad would probably agree with me on that one.
You really feel that way? Well, I guess you would know better than me since I've hardly interacted with her as well.
I know, that is one thing that I regret between us. I should have explained all of this more clearly to you. But I'm sure you can see why that was difficult for me after you met my mom.
Please don't beat yourself up about this at all, Arnie. I know that you were just thinking about my well-being and how I was going to interact with her. I really do appreciate you looking out for me.
Thank you for being so understanding. You don't know how lucky you make me feel to be with you. I really am so happy that we're engaged now. It really is like a dream come true, Millie.
I feel the exact same way. It's like I said, I know that we might have some challenges up ahead, but we'll get through them together.
I know that we will. Anyways, I'm going to talk to my dad and ask him what time he thinks we could go over to see him. I'll let you know what he says.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for doing that, Arnie.
Arnie, are you there? You've got some serious explaining to do, young man. I happened to hear from a friend of mine the other day that you were going to be getting married today. What is the matter with you, son? Why wouldn't you tell me? Your own mother that this was going to be happening. Why am I having to find out through the grapevine and the day before it's happening? Well, lucky for you, I know how to act fast. I've already found a place that's willing to rent me a dress, but unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to make an appointment at the hair salon. But I have no idea just what you're thinking trying to hold a wedding without your own mother there. Whoever heard of that happening? Anyways, I'm on my way to the wedding right now, so I'll see you soon. Hello there. I take it that this is the phone number for Millie, yes? I really have to say, I am just shocked to see you here at my son's wedding. I mean, just what on earth do you think you're doing here, huh? I thought you and my son broke up years ago. I have no idea why in the world Arnie would invite an ex to his wedding. But I want you to know that you seem to be acting awfully close with my son. I just want you to know that you better not be thinking of trying to flirt with him or anything like that. Because I am not going to have some little girl who was only raised by her father hanging around my perfect little boy. I told you years ago that you both needed to break up. And I haven't changed how I feel about since then. Do you understand me? I realize that a lot has changed since my days when men were worried about the age of their wife or if they were divorced before. But this is too much. You need to quit stalking my son and realize that you've already lost him, okay? It's over. So just leave him alone and let him get married. So you thought you could just ignore the messages that I was sending you, huh? Well, I didn't go through the trouble of hunting down your number just to be ignored. Just remember that you forced me to take things into my own hands, got it?
I was wondering who it was that came up behind me, grabbed me by my collar, and started dragging me out of the venue. And lo and behold, when I turned around, it was you. I didn't even think that you were invited to the wedding in the first place, isn't that right?
You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm Arnie's mother, of course I'm invited. I just have a right to be here. But as for you, I want to know just what you think you're doing here. Don't you know that Arnie ended things with you a long time ago? I want to know what you're doing here.
What am I doing here? Did you seriously just ask me that? I think that I'm here for my wedding day, thank you very much.
What on earth are you talking about? You think that you're going to marry my son? You're just his creepy little stalker. You must really be crazy if you think that this wedding here today has anything to do with you. At all. Don't you realize that Arnie is here to get married to his real bride? You need to learn your place and leave him alone.
Learn my place? How's this for my place? You do know that I'm Arnie's boss, don't you?
What do you mean by that? His boss of what? What are you going on about now, you delusional woman?
Look, I am going to go back into that venue and I am going to get married. But you were never even invited here in the first place.
But that can't be right. I'm Arnie's mother. Of course I'm welcome to be here.
No, you're not. Arnie didn't invite you and you two haven't even spoken in years. Don't you get it?
What are you saying? That he's cut me out of his life or something like that?
Arnie, are you there? I think we have to talk about something really quickly.
Millie, I was wondering when I was going to hear from you. Are you okay? What happened? I was just stepping out to get some stuff from the car while helping to set up, and I noticed that my mom started sending me some messages. She said something about how she was going to force her way into the wedding if it was the last thing she does. Have you seen her around here?
Oh, I've done more than just see her. We had a little altercation, actually.
You mean you and her bumped into each other? That's crazy! What happened?
Well, after you stepped out, she barged her way into the building and grabbed me by my collar out of the venue. She grabbed my collar and my wrist, and I think she really hurt my right hand. Thankfully, I'm left-handed, but still, I'm not happy to be getting married after suffering an injury from your mom. But thankfully, one of the friends who was helping us decorate is a doctor, and he looked at it. He said it isn't serious, and it shouldn't cause any serious problems for us.
Got it. Well, that's really good to hear, but if my mom is here, then I'm going to try and find my dad so we can figure something out.
Please do. I'm sure this isn't going to be the last that you see of your mom today. So if you can handle her, that would be great.
Mom? What in the world do you think that you're doing here, huh? You've got some nerve showing your face around here.
Arnie, what a pleasant surprise. I was wondering when I was going to hear from you. What do you mean, what am I doing here? I'm your mom and I'm here for your wedding.
Well, you weren't even invited in the first place. You know that, right?
What do you mean by that? I thought that was some kind of mistake or something.
No, it wasn't a mistake at all. I didn't invite you to my wedding, and we haven't even talked in years. I didn't even send you a wedding announcement, much less an invitation. Just how did you even figure out this was happening today? And more importantly, just what made you think that you were entitled to be here when you weren't invited and we haven't talked in forever?
But Arnie, please, you're being unreasonable.
I'm being unreasonable? You attacked my bride at a wedding you weren't even invited to. Just go home already.
Now you listen to me, son. Like it or not, I am your mother and I belong here.
We don't even have any preparations for you to just show up like this.
How could you do this to me? I thought that you broke up with that sad little girl. I told you that you were not going to be marrying someone raised by a single father.
And just who cares if she was raised by her dad? Why does that matter to you at all?
Because there is no way that a single father would know how to raise a girl well. Not to mention the fact that it probably means the two of them are poor.
And you actually out of your mom mind? First of all, Millie's father is a doctor.
Wait, what? Millie's father is a doctor?
That's right. He's a doctor who actually is a partner in several different clinics around town.
Wait, so he's a doctor and an entrepreneur.
Why are you pretending like you didn't know any of this? I know for a fact that I told you all of this when I first told you that Millie and I were dating.
Did you really tell me? I guess that I just don't remember is all.
Well, I did say so.
But I don't remember that. You can't be mad at me for that.
I don't know what I'm going to do with you, Mom. You're just such a prejudiced, judgmental person, and you never listen to anyone. Now look, Millie and I are going to be getting married tomorrow, and nothing is going to change that.
Arnie, don't you realize what you're doing?
Much better than you do, Mom. Much better than you do. Now do not interrupt our wedding again, or else.
Millie, are you there? We have seriously got to talk about something right now. I didn't believe you when you said it about Arnie, but are you really his boss? But more importantly than that, I was asking around and found out that you're my husband's boss as well?
Well, you two got a divorce 4 years ago, so I'm not sure if he's your husband anymore.
I didn't ask your thoughts about my relationship status. Just answer the questions. I didn't even know that he was even working for the same company that you were. So I want you to tell me why he's working with you and why he's working under you. Answer me right now!
Well, if you really must know, your husband's company went bankrupt 2 years ago.
Wait, you're telling me that my ex-husband's company went bankrupt 2 years ago?
That's literally what I just typed, yes. Anyways, I heard about that from Arnie, and there just happened to be some openings in my company. So, I put in a good word for him. He went through the hiring process. And in the end, he was placed in my department where I'm the supervisor. So yeah, I was able to give him a strong recommendation, and because I knew his skills, I knew that he would be a good fit for my department.
So that's it. It all makes sense now.
Sorry, what makes sense? I don't really trust that you know anything at all of what's going on.
I mean that in the background, it was always you.
Sorry, was that me? Literally, what are you talking about this time?
I mean that on the day of your wedding, when I dragged out of the venue, I told my husband that I wanted to be with him again. I told him that the only reason I said that Arnie couldn't marry you was because I was thinking about his happiness. I thought that if my ex knew that I was only thinking of our son, that he would take me back. But he said no. He said that he would never, ever marry me again. He told me that you attacked his boss and marrying you would ruin his career. I had no idea what he was talking about until I put it together that he had to be referring to you. So, this is all your fault. This is all part of your plan to ruin my life.
I'm sorry, but I was never doing anything like that, and I don't care about who you marry. You and your husband divorced for your own reasons. And from what I hear, it mostly had to do with you spending all the money your ex made. You were so greedy and selfish that he realized he just couldn't be with you anymore.
How dare you say that to me? You don't know what you're talking about. You need to learn some respect.
I really don't. In fact, this whole conversation is just silly. The next time you hear from it, it will be through my lawyer talking about our lawsuit.
You're going to be suing me? For what?
For breaking into a wedding that you weren't invited to and spraining my wrist. Now, goodbye. Apparently, Danny's selfishness and poor spending habits only worsened after her divorce. I found out later that she was swimming in debt from all of this. I think her approaching her husband was an attempt to find someone to pay her debts. She thought that if she could protect her son from his stalker, that he might take her back. It's just too bad she didn't realize that that stalker was her son's fiancé and ex's boss. The lawsuit proceeded and Danny was forced to pay for my injuries as well as the fee for the trespassing. I told her that I wouldn't cancel her legal fees if she agreed to sign a restraining order. And Danny realized she had no choice but to agree if she didn't want to go deeper into debt. She was also banned from contacting me ever again while Arnie blocked her on every medium he could think of. Things are back to business as usual, however, except that now Arnie and I are happily married.
Hey, Aaron. Can you talk? You won't believe this. Huh? Hello, Maddie. What happened? Hope it's nothing serious. You know that woman from our kindergarten? Cynthia, can't remember her last name. Your daughter Emmy is in the same class as her son. Billy, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Watson. Cynthia Watson. Oh, yeah. Cynthia. Yeah, her son is in the same class. I talk to her on occasion. Didn't she say she just had her second child like 3 days ago? Yes, that's right. I was in the PTA meeting with her last year, so I knew her contact info. I heard she gave birth, so I called her to congratulate her. I asked her if she had decided on the baby's name. Anyway, it was just so shocking. What are you talking about? What happened? Well, the baby, it was a boy. The name she gave the kid, it was just so mind-blowing. I was so shocked I don't even remember. You know, it was one of those, how can I put it? A snazzy, fashionable name. Something like Saint something or other. Saint something or other? So, by something or other, it's a bit longer? Is that what you're saying? Well, that alone is kind of weird. But people give their kids all kinds of names. No need to get all upset about it. Yeah, well, I really don't care what she names her kid, but the problem was what happened after that. I heard the name and said, "Oh, that's some name," or something to that effect. And you know what she said about my kid, Barry? She said it was old-fashioned and tacky. Can you believe it? She said if I ever went overseas, like to Europe, people would make fun of it, and that he had no chance of working overseas, and added, "I feel so sorry for you." She criticized me for naming my kid Barry. Then she added that naming a kid is something that can't be changed forever. She kept repeating why I chose such a dumb name over and over. What a dumb name. What a cheeky name, like some broken record. And then she's like, "In contrast, how wonderful is my son's name?" And on and on. Calling my son's name dumb and cheeky? Can you believe it? Barry is way better than this Saint something or other. I can't even remember the stupid name. Wow, really? That's unbelievable. Was Cynthia always like that? I thought she was a bit more laid back. I don't know. Maybe she's all euphoric because she just gave birth. I don't know. Possessed, maybe. Anyway, she went on and on about our kids' names, making a complete mockery of my son's name. That's awful. I heard she is saying the same kind of thing to other moms. Now that she's back from the hospital, when she returns to bringing her kid to the kindergarten, you know, I'm worried that the whole atmosphere will be uncomfortable. I see your point. You're right. Could be a problem. I'll give her a call to say congratulations. See what's up. Hi, Cynthia. Congratulations on your new baby. How are you feeling? Are you all rested? Oh, hello, Erin. Oh, yes, the baby and I are super fine. Baby is doing great, healthy as an ox. That's great. I just talked with Maddie, you know, from the kindergarten. She tells me that you already picked a name for your newborn. She said it was a very unique name. Mind if I asked what you named him? Thanks for asking. Well, when he was born, he looked like a saint. And then I gazed out the window at the very moment, and the sky, it was a brilliant blue. So I named him Saint Blue. Pretty awesome, don't you think? Really inspirational. Saint Blue. Okay. Yes, really awesome. Sounds like a name that would come up in those superhero comics. Captain something or this or that ranger. Yes, like a superhero. When he gets older and travels overseas, well, I wanted a name that would really stick. A name people wouldn't make fun of. In this day and age, you have to give your child a name that will be remembered, that will leave an impression. Right. You think so? Of course. What was your kid's name? Wasn't it Emmy or something? Or was it Emily? I mean, please. That was my grandma's name. You better change that name. Sooner the better, while they're young. I mean, please. Emmy? Sounds like a bird or something. EMI. Or some engineering term. Electro... whatever. LOL. What are all these cheeky names? Emmy, Barry. How do you expect them to compete overseas? Bonjour, I'm Barry. LOL. I want my little Saint Blue to spread his wings and fly around the world. Yes, with a name like that, I suppose people overseas would be taken aback. Yeah, don't you agree? But wasn't your son... Didn't he have a ordinary name? Wasn't it Billy or is it William? Pretty common name. Why did you decide to give your newborn such a unique name? Oh, yeah, Billy. Yeah. I was going to name him too, but my husband and my mother-in-law came up with that name and submitted it without consulting me. Can you believe it? I really hated that name, Billy. I prefer William, but, you know, kids. So I'm thinking of changing it pretty soon. I'm thinking of something along the lines of Prince or King something or other. I want to change it to a really cool name like that. Ah, right. Sounds wonderful. So, what's your baby's real name? Huh? What do you mean, real name? I know you're just playing around, so what's your kid's real name? I mean, you're not serious about Saint Blue, are you? Are you seriously thinking of naming your kid Saint Blue Watson? Sounds like some kind of product. Huh? What are you talking about? I'm not joking around. Some kind of product? How could you say that? Oh, good heavens. Are you serious? That's his name? Saint Beluga? Are you for real? Yeah, for real. And it's not beluga, it's blue. Saint Blue. Oh, yeah, Saint Blue. But sounds like a punk rock band or something. Huh? Punk? Or maybe a character in that Pokemon cartoon. Are you really okay with naming your kid Saint Blue? You do realize this is permanent. All through school, he's going to be called Saint Blue Watson. Right pickings for bullying. Huh? Are you making fun of me? No, that's not my intention. I just thought, what does it even mean? Saint Blue. Huh? Meaning? Yes, Was it your father's name? Was it your great-grandfather's name? People name their kids for a reason. Could be spiritual or a family tradition. For example, I named my daughter Emily because it means industrious and hardworking. That's the kind of girl I wanted her to be. I read that it comes from Latin. So, does this Saint Blue have a meaning? Well, I'm not sure. Anyway, it sounds cool, right? It's a name that people will pay attention to, especially overseas. Unlike all these idiotic traditional names we hear every day. Oh, I get it. A cool and strong-sounding name that will impress people overseas. Yeah, that's it. You got that right. So, you're religious too, huh? I mean, the saint part. Maybe you should have just named him Saint Michael or Saint Augustine or something. Much more recognizable and impressive, I would think. Especially in Europe. Why pick blue? Well, that's because, well... What about a middle name? Are you going to choose a middle name? Like Saint Blue James Watson or something like that? To be honest, you'll just confuse the kid. Oh yeah, James was your husband's name. So he would be Saint Blue James Watson Jr.? Or, by your standards, would you prefer Saint Blue James Watson II? Oh, did you already apply for that name? When you submit the form, are you sure you'll have enough space on the form? Maybe you should shorten it to SB, like SBJ Watson. Sounds kind of intellectual. How should I know? I haven't had time to do that yet. I was going to go and do it without telling my husband or my mother-in-law. Oh, is that right? Okay. When you submit it, I'd really like to know what you decided. For reference, when I have my next child. Oh yeah, that reminds me. When he gets into kindergarten and first grade, I wonder if all the kids and teachers will remember the name. Unique, but also a bit hard to remember. You know what I mean? Maddie couldn't even remember what it was. And whenever the teacher changes classes, you'll have to submit his name. I bet it'll just be shortened to SB as time goes by. And SB, well, that could be interpreted in all kinds of ways. Kids. Ugh, nobody is going to call him SB. Oh, and I recently saw something on the internet. They took this survey, and it said applicants with weird names are at a disadvantage. Corporations prefer to be on the safe side. I know, sounds kind of discriminatory. Well, if he can't even succeed here in the States, how is he going to succeed overseas? Just wondering. Well, he is, Hey, what the hell is this? What are you ragging on about my name choice? Are you mocking me? Of course not. But it was you who said that about Maddie's kid. You said Barry was an old-fashioned and tacky name. That's why I wanted to ask about your name choice. I figured you named your kid for a specific reason. I mean, to degrade someone else's name? You probably had a pretty good reason. I wanted to know why you chose that name, how it would affect that child, what will happen when he grows up. Would it make life difficult for him? I had all kinds of thoughts crossing my mind. I figured you had it all thought out. Oh, please, give me a break. I can do as I please. You have no right to tell me how I can name my child. I don't want to hear your advice. I don't need to hear any of your idiotic reasoning. Thank you. Well, that goes both ways, don't you think? If you want to name your child Paint, Saint, or whatever, you can do as you like. I mean, you're a complete stranger. I have no right to say a damn thing. But I have to defend my friend's child as well as mine. I couldn't just sit by and let it pass. Come on, Cynthia. It really doesn't feel good to hear someone trash talk your kid's name, right? Yeah, well, I guess... You can name your kid whatever you like, and everyone will probably accept it. Why wouldn't they? But I would refrain from disparaging other kids' names. People just won't accept that. You probably said the same thing to the other mothers, am I right? You keep this up, and you won't have any friends left at school. If you're okay with that, I'll say no more. Yes, well, I was just, you know. I'm really sorry. I know you just returned home. You must be pretty tired. I hope you recover quickly. See you at school. After that, I did see her around, but she ignored me. But about a week later, she contacted me. Apparently, she thought about the whole conversation and realized she was in the wrong. She decided to name her son Randall, which means wolf shield, strong and protective. It's apparently a biking name. Actually kind of cool. She also went around to the other mothers and apologized for her attitude. Most of the moms were pretty forgiving. Most chalked it up to the stress from the pregnancy and birth, which we could all relate to. The atmosphere at the kindergarten changed significantly too. No more negative atmosphere. That was my biggest worry. I'm glad I confronted her about this. And I'm glad Cynthia turned out to be an understanding person after all.